If you somehow aren't aware, I have been building my dream theme park in Planet Coaster 2 with a whole host of different rides and attractions, and I could basically just build whatever I wanted to. So I did just that and built a Greek themed area with a launch coaster and a few other things in it, and a Viking themed area with a huge inverted coaster, a few other rides, and a log flume too. And with those two areas being completely finished now, it is time to start the third area of the park. And I can't lie to you, I've been wanting to do this theme since the very beginning, so I'm excited to get started. So if you do want to see what coaster I've built and everything else in the area, then be sure to watch till the end. And be sure to subscribe as well if you haven't already. It would be massively appreciated. Hello and welcome back to the Custom Park series in Planet Coaster 2, or Dream Park as I said in the intro. My dream theme park. Anyway, welcome back to episode 7 we're on now. I feel like at the same time as it flying by this series, it's also going really slowly because I feel like we should be on like episode 10, but we're on 7, but at the same time it feels like we should be on episode 1. I don't know what's going on. Time is a weird construct, but here we are building a tipper coaster as they're called in this game, which in real life they're called Vekoma tilt coasters. And I know this means we're going to have two sort of big scale Vekomas in the park already. We have Talos in the Greek area and now this, but Talos doesn't do this. Whee! I genuinely have no idea why it did that on that test run, but there we go. Planet Coaster 2 still has many a bug, doesn't it just? I think it was to do with the amount of cars on the train or something, but I don't know why that would launch one off and then break the rest. Either way, we're making the Vekoma tilt coaster regardless of what it is doing. Another bug that's actually a thing, and I don't actually know whether it's still in the game or not, but I did sort of make a fix to sort of make sure it doesn't happen anyway. It usually launches the train off of the tilt track when it's facing down vertically, which obviously in real life it sort of tilts downwards and then will just release. So it will just release like a normal drop and then go down. But in the game, it for some reason likes to launch it off, so it gives it way more speed than it should. So I had a little trim brake on the drop, which you will see on the finished POV once this area is done. And what is the theme of this area, by the way? Because in the previous episode, I did say that from that sort of Viking entrance area you can see just there to the main lake, I was going to make sort of like a, I don't know, like a gardens, just a nice modern area like Celestial Park in Epic Universe. Because as you can tell, in a lot of these episodes, we have mass inspiration from Epic Universe. So I was going to build like a gardens area in this exact plot of land. I sort of thought I could do that elsewhere, closer to the entrance, because there is still that little section in the background you can see occasionally of pathway that's going off to the right when you enter the park. Feel like I could do that there. So this is the steampunk themed area, a lot like Rookburg/Fly at Phantasialand. It's going to be its own set area with loads of like pathways going up and down into the terrain and blah blah blah. Water as well, there'll be some lakes and ponds. I sound like a real environmentalist, don't I? But if you have visited Phantasialand, you've seen Rookburg and like all the smoke effects and the steampunk sort of vehicles that are around and loads of different things like that. It's going to be very similar in that aspect. Taking a bit of inspiration from Baron 1898 as well at the Efteling, and just any steampunk ride. I just want to make a steampunk themed area because I think it would be very, very cool for the park. And I know originally with the themes in this park, we've obviously gone for the mythology theme, which is the Greek theme. That's in the game. We've also gone for the Viking theme. That's in the game as well. Steampunk isn't. But what I realised on the run up to the game's release, and even when playing it occasionally, is the aquatic theme that's in the base game, alongside the Viking and the mythology and stuff. You can use a lot of those pieces and just recolour them from the bright mustard yellow that they are in the game. You can colour them brown or like a beige colour or even just a black or grey and really make steampunk theming. So that is exactly what we're going to do for this area. So technically, we are making a base game themed area like the Viking one, like the mythology one, aquatic. But this time, changing it and repurposing everything in the pack to steampunk. So there we go. So this area, I did say this in the previous video, I've always wanted to make a steampunk themed area in this park ever since the start of this entire build. I was tempted to make the entrance steampunk themed so I could get away with doing it straight away, but I decided against that because steampunk is a little bit more, difficult to transition to other areas. But this one, unlike Rookburg, this will have more than one ride. In fact, by the end of this video, it already has 3, technically, and it's going to have another 2 in this area as well. And we're going to expand out a little bit towards the back with a warehouse, with a dark ride inside of it. Of course, we have this tilt coaster here. The pathways are going in now. I like how I didn't commentate on anything to do with the coaster being built, but you saw it anyway. Along with that dark ride and this coaster, we're also going to have 2 Zamperla Nebulas because, I actually build them in this episode, but 2 is better than 1 because of the throughput. We're trying to get that efficiency down to a T. And the other ride will be another coaster, and I will leave that until the next episode. Although you will be able to see a few different gaps in the pathways and stuff on where I plan to make that coaster go through. So yeah, stay tuned for episode 8. Subscribe if you haven't already. It sounded like I was just ending the entire video then, but we're literally not even halfway through. It's a long one, this one, because we're building a whole new area. There's some more pathways going in, making a little bit of a plaza area right in front of that tilt. I think if you have a tilt coaster, you can't not have a viewing area of the actual tilt itself, because it's basically the only point in that ride. So, yeah. And I wanted to show as well, in this time lapse, the reason it's quite a long one, I wanted to just show the struggle of actually coming up with an area, because a lot of the time I just cut around the sort of bits where I'm sat there doing nothing, or sat there like I just did with these 2 flat rides, working out where to place them. I'll just cut to straight away when I placed them, but it does take a lot of work to actually sort of find the right area to go to. And you could see with the coaster build as well, that overbank turn right after the first inversion, literally sat there trying to work out what direction that would go in for ages. And I finally got it to work, so there we go. Changing the brick texture now, or the path texture to brick. There you go. Spoiler alert, guys, it's brick pathway. And as you can see, now doing the queue line for this ride here. Obviously, a lot of flat rides in real life, if there were 2 of them. I'm not too sure if there's actually 2 Zamperla Nebulas next to each other in a park somewhere. But one good example of what I'm about to say is any sort of shot towers. There's a lot of shot towers, especially in, I don't know, parks that are quite busy, that have 2 shot towers right next to each other. They do the same thing or they do something different, but you queue for them in the exact same queue. You can't do that in Planet Coaster, so there's going to be 2 separate queue lines for this Zamperla Nebulas, although, it's going to have the same name, and there's probably going to be one that will have a longer queue than the other. I don't even know. Someone's going to go on one of them and think, hang on a minute, I haven't been on that ride, and go on the other one, aren't they? Bloody stupid guests in this game. But now is the time, of course, speaking so much about that aquatic theming being used as steampunk theming, now's the time to actually use that and make some steampunk theming. I say that, but I'm building the Viking stuff. As you can see, I am making the sort of, the wall between the steampunk area and the Viking theme land, because we're not just going to have that scaffolding thing enter you into the steampunk area, because you could see right through it and the immersion would be ruined. So I am making a sort of fake wall right here with a few rocks going up it, a lot of planting as well, just to sort of cover off seeing that tipper coaster and also just seeing into the area itself, because I kind of hid the tilt coaster anyway. And then the reason why the stone is a lot higher on the left is purely because as I was building, I realised the tilt coaster obviously goes quite far up in the sky when it tilts, so I had to cover it up there. But sight lines are a very big thing in this area, because not only do the 2 pathways entering have some really cool views, but obviously the views outside of the area, you don't really want there to be many. You could probably look around the Viking area when obviously I release this eventually, and realise that I've made sure that I hid the Greek themed area away, and I'm trying to do the same for the steampunk area, but obviously it's a bit difficult because it's not really easy to go from Viking or Greek to this as it was to go from Viking to Greek or vice versa. So it's going to be a lot more difficult, but I'm willing to take on the challenge. We're going to have an exit route out of the area through the back as well towards where that lift hill is. I'm hoping to sort of work that in. I don't know how I'm going to work that in because there is part of the coaster there, maybe up some stairs or something like that. Checking the sight lines once again, dotting around. You can see I was doing a lot of sight line checking, but we'll try our best with that. But yeah, the exit at the back, it just helps crowd flow. I don't really know how Phantasialand got away with having only one entrance and exit to Rookburg. I think there's another one now, but to think you could only enter and exit through where the main street is sort of place, my god, the crowds on a busy day, I can't imagine it. So considering a lot of my guests, when I have opened the park just to test like sort of guest flow and see whether I can actually, you know, work the rides and they can get to certain places, because they have got stuck in the past, so it was good that I checked. But doing that, they get stuck on like 8-meter wide pathways, so I had to make sure that there is good flow through this area, and that is what I'm working on. So I'm excited to add that back entrance as well, and then eventually we can make another area around there. Keep your suggestions coming on what areas you want to see next as well, by the way, because, well, obviously steampunk, Viking, Greek, done all of them now. One I really want to do is sort of like a jungle area. I really think that would be quite cool. Maybe like a ride to do with like a jeep or something. Maybe we could do an indoor Intamin multi-dimension coaster themed to like a getaway jeep or something. A bit like Dinosaur at Animal Kingdom. Bit like that. That'd be quite fun. Just not themed to dinosaurs. I know there's a few people that really want to see more of the sort of mythology and like the actual like, I don't know what you even call it, but some people want to see like an Aztec area or like Egypt or something. That's definitely going down in the ideas, because that sounds like I'm putting it down in the ideas as in it's a bad thing. No, I like those ideas. That's being noted down. That's what I should have said. But yeah, I really want to do some of these areas. Obviously, I can't do them all because I'd be here forever and the park can't be as big as everything. But I will be trying my best. Do need to extend out the car park, I think, for this park, because the park is just getting bigger and bigger, so the car park needs to be bigger. I think that needs to be done in a future episode. Maybe when we do the water park. I don't know. I have no idea. But here we go. The aquatic stuff is being used, changing the colours from that mustard yellow all the way to the brown colour, as you can see. That's, again, like some control thing for a submarine, I don't know. And I'm just changing them all, covering up some like text and stuff with different bits. And you can really see how steampunk-esque this is starting to look. And this is only one corner of that entire area. Not even a corner, just a little tiny bit in the corner. That is the corner. Either way, I've also been thinking that I really want to make some of this area very sort of motion based, you know, so it's not all sat still like say the Viking area, and I know there's a few like smoke effects and stuff in the Viking area, but it's not really like there's gears and like cogs and things whirring and smoke coming out of like pipes and everything. It's not that much motion, whereas in this area I wanted the opposite. I wanted to make sure this had a lot of motion inside of it. So when you look up at the walls, you can see sort of like things like lifting up and down or lifting across, or oh, here we go, here's the queue line. I thought I did it earlier, but obviously I wasn't watching properly. But yeah, I really want to make this area just look really, really cool when you're sort of looking at everything off-ride and on-ride as well. So yeah, cool thing about the ride as well, as you can see with all this brickwork that's going in, a lot of the area of the coaster seems to be behind that brick wall, and that is because I'm getting a lot of inspiration from sort of like Rock and Rollercoaster and a few other rides that I've done that have those like dark sections. So we're going to have a nice little ending to the ride in the dark. So it's going to have loads of like steampunk theming around. And then also that starting section where you go around the corner really fast, that will also have some indoor steampunk theming. So we've now got 2 big Vekoma coasters in the park that have indoor sections at the start and at the end. No, Talos doesn't have one at the end. It has one right at the start, and that is it. So, yeah, we've got indoor sections on both our Vekomas. I'm never making a Vekoma again. But that is probably a lie, because I will probably make a Vekoma again, and probably many. because not only is there obviously the chance I can make a Vekoma boomerang or something, there is also the chance of me making a Vekoma family launch coaster, because that's in the most recent DLC. And along with that, there's obviously the Mack Extreme spinning coaster in that DLC, and I know a lot of you guys want to see that, so that will probably come at some point in the future. And yeah, if you have any suggestions on what you want to see, you guys have way better ideas than I do, especially for that and the names of certain rides. So if you want to suggest some coasters you want to see, not for this area specifically, because, well, it's sort of already getting there and I know what I'm going to do in the area now. But if you want to suggest any for future reference with future themes and everything, leave them down below. And also suggest what you'd like to name this coaster, the tipper coaster, the tilt coaster, whatever you want to call it. If you have any name suggestions for that, obviously we're going for that steampunk theme. Could have a storyline if you want it to, but at the same time, it's not overly based on a story. I guess maybe like some thing, a contraption someone's made, and the cogs whir, and the tilts. See, that's the realms of my storytelling right there. And right there in front of me is the park in which we reside in. You didn't expect me to go into real time just yet, did you? Oh, I'm unpredictable. But of course, we are here in the Viking themed area, right in front of the log flume, because of course, last time I gave you guys the choice of the name. Or I let you guys decide the name. Yeah. And the name I have gone for with this log flume is Njord's Fjord. I'll put up the name on screen because I probably haven't pronounced it right again. And that name was suggested by Jam Mobile because, of course, we have this little cave section here. So they suggested that in this sort of cave area, the person Njord, because he's the Norse god of water, tries to kill you with that sword. And then from there, the god basically tries to just soak you and drench you and everything like that. So it's quite a nice storyline, you know. You know, there's like the sort of sword at the start. That makes sense now. And all the rest of it. I probably will add some things to it to sort of fit more into that story. But yes, thank you very much for the name suggestion. Do love that name. Over here, an entrance towards the steampunk themed area. Now, my game is like, the graphics are glitching a bit, but I'm sure that'll be fine. I've obviously put some stone up, and we've got the nice scaffolding and everything, and it's not final, because there will be more theming added, but it works for now, because of course, under here, you then enter the steampunk themed area, and there we go, it's going to drop. Wow. Here comes the coaster. Yeah, it is a shame we can't have the new gen track for this, for the Vekoma, but I'm happy with it, regardless. And there it goes, down into the pits. It's very much a terrain coaster, even when it's just steampunk. So it shouldn't be terrain-esque. But with how up and down the sort of stairs and everything are in the area, I think it is. So let's have a look around at some of the theming. The main area is behind me right here, with loads of moving stuff such as smoke and the gears and cogs up there, everything like that. I really wanted to make it just a nice sort of wall piece. And obviously, I haven't finished all of the walls. I've started over there. I don't know. Why did I miss that gap in the middle? But you've got all the pipes and the sort of just like the drainage, and I don't even know what else. Just like some random hooks up there, propellers, and just, yeah, anything steampunk-esque that can go up on the walls. Yeah, that's basically what we're going for here, and I really do like that. And as we come down here, as you can see, more of that wall there. There's a few sort of pieces that I've utilized from the other side, but at the same time, we've got some new ones. You've got this really cool view right here at the bottom in this plaza area of that massive tilt drop. And at the same time as that, this cog here, I'm really tempted up on the lift to have some sort of like cog or gear that just starts spinning as the ride starts tilting, and it would be like Baron 1898's drop, but a bit different. And I really want to do that because I think that'd be really, really cool, especially for the steampunk theme. Are you gonna drop? Goodbye now. Now, obviously, the view from over there is pretty cool when you walk in. You can see the tilt drop, you can see the overbank, but my favourite view is where you're going to enter from the main area of the park, the sort of entrance lake round here with the Greek area off in the distance. That's a pretty cool view, isn't it? But what's even cooler is if you walk into the steampunk area, bear in mind there'll be loads of walls and you won't be able to see in until you've walked straight in there. You go in, and there's your view of the tilt coaster. I think that view of that tilt is incredible from here. I think it fits perfectly right there. And if you notice as well, the buildings are a lot taller on the left and right. Or they will be, because they're not right now. But the buildings are quite shallow on the middle to give that tilt some height to it, you know, to make it look a lot more grand than it actually is. But yeah, you've got loads of different pathways and stairs and everything. It's very, very up and down. What just happened? These mechanics bug every single time I join this game. Around here, there may be a certain part of the new coaster in the next episode. But yeah, that is the steampunk area so far. We've got the nebulas over here as well, but they're very unthemed at the moment, so I didn't really want to show them off. But yeah, they're there. So if anyone has any suggestions on what the theme and name for those two could be, they're just one ride. And also, of course, a name for this coaster here, leave them in the comments. I'm excited to see your suggestions. If you want to see this more complete in the next episode, then be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. And also be sure not to miss the shoe eating video on the 31st of December. Goodbye.